A guy making $180,000 a year just had his car repossessed. A woman making $34,000 a year just crossed $100,000 in investments. Same country, same economy, same year, different game. And today I'm going to show you exactly which game you're playing, and whether it's making you rich or keeping you broke. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus grew up watching his dad stress about money every single month. Overdue notices on the kitchen table, lights getting cut off in December, his mom working double shifts just to keep the family above water. Marcus told himself one thing growing up: when I get money, people are going to know it. And he delivered. By 27, Marcus had a good job, $65,000 a year. And within 2 years of getting that salary, he had the car, the clothes, the apartment in the nice part of town. His Instagram looked like a lifestyle magazine. His coworkers thought he was crushing it. His family back home was proud. Strangers at the gym noticed the watch. Marcus felt like he had finally made it. Now, let me tell you about his cousin Deja. Same family, same neighborhood growing up. At 27, Deja was making $58,000, actually less than Marcus. Her car was a 2015 Honda Civic with a small scratch on the bumper she never fixed. She wore normal clothes. She didn't post much. Nobody at work was impressed by Deja's lifestyle. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. Fast forward to today. Marcus is 35, and he's quietly drowning. The car payment, the rent on that apartment, the credit card bills, it all caught up. He's got maybe $4,000 in savings. He's one bad month away from real trouble. Deja is 35, and she just hit $130,000 in her investment account. She didn't get a massive raise. She didn't win anything. She just made a different choice. Quietly, every single month, for years. Same starting point, same city, same economy. Here's the question nobody asks out loud. Why did Marcus, who knew what being broke felt like up close, end up broke again? And why did Deja, who had every reason to want to show the world she made it, choose differently? That answer is what this whole video is about. Here's the truth that's uncomfortable to say out loud. The luxury trap doesn't catch dumb people. It catches people with deep emotional wounds around money. Think about it. If you grew up watching your parents stress about bills, money became linked to survival and shame in your brain before you even understood what money was. If you grew up being told we can't afford that over and over, having money became the most important goal your brain could picture. So the moment money arrives, your brain screams, prove it, show people, make it visible, make sure they can see you're not that broke kid anymore. That impulse isn't stupidity, it's pain trying to heal itself. But here's where it gets twisted. The way most people try to heal that pain, buying visible things, luxury things, status things, actually guarantees they'll feel that financial pain again, just later, with interest. You spend to escape the feeling of being broke, but the spending is what keeps you broke. That cycle is the trap. And the people who design luxury products understand this better than almost anyone. Let me show you how they do it. Have you ever noticed that luxury brands almost never advertise the actual product? They don't say, "This bag is well made." They don't talk about materials or craftsmanship in ads. They show you a world, a feeling, a version of yourself. They show beautiful people in beautiful places looking effortlessly successful. They show a life that says, "You have arrived. You are someone. You belong at the top." And then they attach that feeling to a $1,200 belt. They are not selling you leather. They are selling you the antidote to your deepest financial insecurity, and they price it just high enough that buying it feels like proof that you made it, proof that you're not struggling anymore, proof that you matter. That's not a coincidence. That's a billion-dollar psychological strategy, and it works beautifully for them, not for you. Okay, let's talk about the actual money, because this is where it gets real. Every dollar you have right now is making a choice, even if you don't realize it. Even if you're doing nothing with it, it's making a choice. That choice is simple. Does this dollar go somewhere that makes it smaller over time, or somewhere that makes it bigger over time? That's it. That's the whole game. Things that make your dollar smaller, your car, your phone, designer clothes, almost everything in a mall. The moment you buy them, they start losing value. A brand new $40,000 car is worth $32,000 the moment you drive it off the lot. 3 years later, it might be worth $18,000. You didn't use the car for free. You paid $22,000 just for the privilege of owning it while it shrank. Now luxury goods, even worse. That $1,200 belt Marcus bought to feel successful? If he tried to sell it on Depop right now, someone might offer him $90. He paid $1,200 for something that is now worth less than his electricity bill. But here's what Deja did instead with similar money. Every month, quietly, she put $400 into a simple S&P 500 index fund. She didn't pick stocks. She didn't day trade. She just bought a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in America and let time do the work. In year one, nothing felt exciting. She had maybe $5,000 in there. In year three, she had around $18,000. Still not flashy, but then compound interest started doing something wild. By year 7, the account wasn't just growing from her deposits. It was growing from its own growth. The interest was earning interest. The gains were generating gains. By year 10, $130,000 from $400 a month. Meanwhile, Marcus spent roughly the same amount, maybe a little more, on car payments, designer items, and keeping up an image. And he has essentially nothing to show for it. The car lost value. The dinners are gone. Same dollars, completely different outcomes. Here's the way I want you to think about this going forward. And this reframe genuinely changed how I see every purchase I make. Every $100 you spend on something that loses value is not just $100. It's every dollar that $100 could have become. That $100 invested today, left alone for 25 years at an average return, could become over $1,000. So that $1,200 luxury belt isn't really $1,200. In real wealth terms, it's closer to $12,000. That's what you're actually trading away, the future value of that money. When you see it that way, it changes things. I need to make a distinction here that most people never hear. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy, and confusing the two is exactly what keeps people stuck. Rich means high income. Wealthy means high net worth. And those two things are not the same thing at all. You can be rich and broke at the same time. Plenty of people are. There's a term for it. They call it all fur coat and no knickers. You look expensive on the outside. There's nothing on the inside. Athletes who earn $10 million a year and go bankrupt 5 years after retiring. Rich, not wealthy. Celebrities who make $50 million on a movie and then lose it all to bad spending and bad investments. Rich, not wealthy. The doctor making $400,000 a year who spends $410,000. Rich, not wealthy. Wealthy is different. Wealthy means your money works while you sleep. Wealthy means you own things that produce income. Stocks that pay dividends, property that generates rent, businesses that run without you. Wealthy means that even if your salary stopped tomorrow, money would still be coming in. That's the goal. Not looking rich, actually being wealthy. And here's the brutal truth about luxury spending. It buys you rich. It buys you the appearance, the image, the feeling of having money, but it actively delays and destroys wealth. Because every dollar going into a depreciating luxury item is a dollar not going into an appreciating asset. You literally cannot do both at the same time with the same dollar. That's the choice, every time, rich looking or wealth building. The genuinely wealthy people I've studied, and there's a famous book called The Millionaire Next Door that spent decades documenting how actual millionaires really live. Most of them would shock you. They drive normal cars, they live in normal neighborhoods, they wear normal clothes, because they figured out something most people never do, that the goal was never to look wealthy. The goal was to actually be free. And freedom doesn't require an audience. I want to tell you about a real psychological shift that happens when you stop building real assets, because nobody talks about this part. When you have nothing saved, every financial decision feels like deprivation. Every time you choose not to buy something, it feels like you're missing out. It feels like punishment. But something changes around the time you hit your first $10,000 saved and invested. You start to see your money as a thing that's alive. It's growing, it's working, and suddenly, the expensive dinner doesn't sound like a treat. It sounds like reaching into your future and pulling something out early. And when you hit $50,000, that shift becomes a full transformation. You start thinking like an owner instead of a consumer. You start asking, what does this produce, instead of how does this make me look? The money mindset of wealthy people isn't something they were born with. It's something that developed after they experienced, even on a small scale, what it feels like to have money making money. That's why the first $10,000 is so important. Not because of the amount, because of what it does to your brain. You cannot think your way into a wealthy mindset. You have to feel it. And you can only feel it by starting. Let's be specific. Here's what actually changes things. 1. Stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "What does this cost me in 10 years?" That $200 pair of sneakers in 10 years of investing could be $600. Know what you're actually spending. 2. Automate before you can talk yourself out of it. Set up an automatic investment transfer for the day you get paid. Even $50, even $100, before you see it, before you spend it. The best financial decision you ever make will be one you automate and forget about. 3. Make one asset purchase this month. Not a big dramatic gesture, just one. Buy one share of an index fund. Put $25 into a Roth IRA. Start the account you've been saying you'll start. The first one is the hardest, and also the most important, because it begins the identity shift from consumer to owner. 4. Get honest about what you're actually buying. The next time you're about to buy something expensive, pause and ask, am I buying this because I genuinely want it, or am I buying it because of how it will make me look? There's no judgment in the answer, just honesty, because once you can see the pattern, you can choose something different. Let's go back to Marcus and Deja. Marcus didn't fail because he was lazy. He didn't fail because he was stupid. He failed because nobody ever taught him the difference between looking wealthy and building wealth. He did what made emotional sense given everything he experienced growing up. But here's what I want you to understand. That story doesn't have to end there. Marcus can start today. At 35, with $400 a month invested, Marcus could still retire with over $400,000. The game isn't over. It's just later than it needed to be. And maybe that's you. Maybe you've been playing the visible game, the looking rich game, and somewhere in this video something clicked. The luxury brands are not your friends. The car dealerships are not your friends. The treat-yourself culture is not your friend. They are businesses, extraordinarily sophisticated businesses that make money when you feel like spending is the same as arriving. It isn't. Arriving is when your money works harder than you do. Arriving is when you could stop working tomorrow and your investments would keep growing. Arriving is freedom, and freedom is quiet. It doesn't need a designer label. It doesn't need an audience. Rich people don't buy luxury to feel wealthy. They build wealth first, and then the wealth buys the luxury from the income it produces. Not from their paycheck, from the machine they built. That's the whole game, right there. If this video changed how you see money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not as advice, just send it. Let it do the work. And if you want more videos that break down how money really works, the stuff nobody taught you in school, subscribe. We drop new videos every week.